Ladies and gentlemen, could it be the very last check understanding for Module 3? It could. It actually is. This is the last one. So today we're going to be using multiple operations, dealing with fractions to make sure that we're still sharp on all that stuff before we get into iLearn. So this is going to be a little bit of everything today. Can't just fall back and just say we know it's going to be division today. So let's try this first one. It says at college, Tyrell has science for 5.5 hours a week. If his lab work takes 2/5 of his science class time, how many hours does Tyrell spend in the lab? So we know we've got 5 hours a week of science. So that's one thing we know. I know we got 5.5 hours a week of science. I know the lab work takes up 2/5 of his science time, and I want to know how many hours does Tyrell spend in the lab each week. I want you, before you give me an answer, I want you to go ahead and just set up this problem correctly. I want the equation part. You don't have to give me the answer, but I do want the expression and the equal sign. All right. Go ahead and set this up using the correct operation, numbers in the correct spot. We'll see how you do. All right. Hopefully you did pretty well. All you have to do, guys and gals, is take your 5.5 hours a week, and we are going to multiply this time by 2/5. Because remember, if we use multiplication, it's like we're using the word of, and we want 2/5 of 5.5. That is indeed what we want. So in order to do this one, just like with division, you can't, where we would keep, change, flip, you can't even do the multiply straight across unless you take that mixed number and make it an improper fraction. So 5 times 2 will give you 10, plus 1 gives me 11 halves. So I'll rewrite 5 halves as 11 halves. 5 and 1/2, is 11 halves. And then we're going to multiply that by 2/5. We can keep that one the same. 22. Well, let's actually just cancel these guys out. So those guys can cancel. We've got 11 over 5. Or we can take 2 whole groups of 5 out and get 1/5 left over. So 2 and 1/5 hours is going to be your answer for that one. But again, what I wanted you to know was setting this bad boy up. You're going to use your big number there, and you're going to multiply it by 2/5 because you're taking 2/5 of it. All right. So again, we got 2 1/5 hours for that first one. We should be rocking and rolling. All right. Let's move on to number 2. Mr. Lambert, got to hit the button. There we go. All right. Number 2. Lena played piano pieces at a recital. One piece was 5.5 minutes long. The other lasted 4 minutes or 4 2/3 minutes. How long did Lena play during the recital? So enter the correct answers in the boxes. And then we want to know what operation we use to solve the problems. Let's go ahead and do that first because that's going to make things pretty difficult if we can't figure out what we need to do first. So let's go back to here. And Lena played 2 piano pieces at the recital. So we know we have 2 pieces. One piece was 5.5 minutes long. The other lasted 2 3/4 minutes. We want to know how long does Lena play at the recital. So I've got one thing here, but I've got the other thing over here. And if I've got one and then something else, and I kind of want to know how much they play in all, this is going to be addition. We're going to add it up. So for part B, I'm going to go ahead and do that first. For part B, I know I want to use addition to solve this problem. All right, so let's figure it out. I've got 5 1/2 minutes plus 4 2/3 minutes. And if you don't remember, we can keep the whole numbers the same here. What we do have to do before we add 2 fractions, though, is make them with a like denominator. We have to have them in like terms. So I've got 5 1/2. I've got a 2 and a 3, and the only thing I can do, the closest thing I can do to get those two together is to multiply my 2 times 3 and my 3 times 2 to give me 6. So I know I need 6 over here, and 2 times 3, of course, gives me 6. So 1 times 3 would give me 3. Plus 4, and we need 6 over here again, and 3 times 2 gives me 6. So 2 times 2 is 4. Add those together. 4 plus 5 is 9. 3 plus 4 for our numerators is 7. 6, 9, and 7, 6, or that's 10 and 1/6, because we can take one whole group of 6 out to make my other number to get 10. So 10 and 1/6 minutes would be your correct answer using addition. All right, ladies and gents. Not too shabby there. I was double checking my answer to make sure I was correct, but I was. All right. Moving on. So again, we used addition for that one. Let's see what we got for the next one. All right. Number 3. Sean is making fruit punch. He has 1 5/8 quarts of orange juice. He has 1 2/3 quarts of pineapple juice. Write each amount using the LCM. Ooh, this is going to be difficult. All right, LCM. Well, our LCM, our least common multiple between 3 and 8. We have to write those out and figure them out here. So let's see here. Got my 3s and my 8s. 3 8s. Well, my first one's going to be 3 and 6. Doesn't work for my 8. There's 9. Doesn't work for my 8. 12 doesn't work for my 8. Then I just have 15. Then what? 18. 21, 24. Let's see if we can get something there. So I know a lot of these aren't going to work for 8. 8's my first one, so these two are going to be out. 9's not going to work. We have 16. Pretty close, but no cigar. So my next one was going to be 24. Cross those out, but I do have 24 in common. So if I write these using LCM, I'm still going to have 1 over here for my quarts of orange juice. That's not going to change. But this is going to change. We're going to use 24ths here. And in this case, in order to get to the orange juice, I needed to multiply by 3 because 1 times 3, no, sorry, the 5/8 there. Yeah, that's the one I want. Okay, 5/8. That is what I want. So I'm going to multiply the 8 by 3 to get 24. So 5 times 3 is going to be 15. And for my cups of orange juice, pineapple juice, the 1 stays the same. I'm going to have 24 at the bottom again. And how did I get there? Well, I had to multiply my 3 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 2 is going to give me 16. Yep, that'll give me 16. So I'll put that up top. So I have 1 and 15 24ths, 1 and 16 24ths. If I add those together, how much can I make? So 1 and 15 24ths plus, because I'm going to be adding these, if I use all of the juice, I'm just going to add those up. So 1 plus 1 is, of course, so we've got 1 and 15 24ths and 1 and 16 24ths. Let's just write that out. Make sure we do okay here. One plus 1, of course, would give me 2. 15 plus 16 is 31 24ths. And we can simplify that. We can take another group of 24 out. So that gives me 3. And I believe there's 7 left over. 24ths. And 24 is not a multiple of 7. It's pretty close, but it is not a multiple of 7. It is a multiple of 8 and 3 and 4. So we can not worry about that guy. We just need to have our 3 and 7 24ths quarts would be our correct answer. 3 and 7 24ths. There we go. Just double check that one in the book because that was pretty intense too. So we are good there. All right, moving on. We got some of you need to try on your own here. All right. Perform the operation shown. Give me the answer. So see if you can remember what we've been doing this week. What do I do here? Go ahead and try that out and give me your answer. We'll check it here in a second. All right. Hopefully you remembered, y'all. You're going to have to keep, change, flip. But before you do that, you cannot use these crazy old mixed numbers. You've got to have inappropriate fractions. Improper fractions are the way to go. So 2/5. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 2 more gives me 12 fifths divided by 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16 fifths. All right. Easy breezy. So now I'm going to keep, change, flip. I've got 12 over 5 times 5 over 16. And what's great about this, y'all? Check it out. Those can cancel each other out. I get 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 16 is 16. And I can simplify that out, guys and gals. Dividing by 4, that would give me 3/4 is going to be my answer. There you go. 3/4 should have been your answer. A little difficult one there. Not too shabby, I suppose. Simple as long as you keep the algorithm and just keep it going. All right, next one, perform the operation shown. Again, this should be pretty simple. We got 3/5 times 2 and 1/2. Now it's going to be just like using our keep, change, flip, except for we don't have to flip. But again, just like before, we cannot multiply while we've got these mixed numbers. We have to make them improper fractions. So we're just going to rewrite and make them improper. So 3 times 5 would be 15 plus 3 more is 18/5. Rewritten. And 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5/2. And because we're already using multiplication, we don't have to keep, change, flip, but we can still cross cancel. 5 divided by 5 is 1 in both cases, and 18 and 2, you can actually divide them both by 2. I get 9 and 1. So 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 1, of course, is 1. So my answer is 9. Pretty easy breezy. I mean, seriously, it's not too bad as long as you follow the rules. All right, last one. Let's see if you can remember how to add a couple things, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it till you give me an answer. So go ahead, try this one out, and then we'll see how we do. All right, here we go. We got 3 and 1/6 plus 2 and 5/9. All right. Now, again, we can't do this until we have like terms. So 6 and 9, we would use least common multiple, which is going to be, off the top of my head, let's see, 18, because that's 9 times 2 and 6 times 3. So we have 3, and that's 6 times 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So 3/18 plus 2, and multiply 9 by 2 to get 18. So my 5 times 2 is 10. So I've got 3 plus 2 is 5. 3/18 plus 10/18 would be 13/18. So 5 and 13/18 is going to be the correct answer here today. Again, not too difficult. You just have to remember you have to make those with a common multiple on the bottom. So your denom is the same, and then you can add those bad boys up. So 5 and 13/18 is your total. And you should be ready to rock and roll. That's your last one. So go ahead and try that independent practice for today, the on your own section, see how you do, and then that homework more practice, of course, to finish you up for this module, and then you should be ready for your test. But make sure you're doing the practice and getting ready before you go. Good luck. We'll talk to you. See you in module number 4.